welcome to another edition of the Throwing Bagels Podcast alongside Jason Hamo and Chris Douglas. I'm Kevin Mooney. Hey, guys.
Kevin.
Hello there, Kevin.
Chris, Jason. The weather is getting cooler, right?
Oh,
Starting to see those leaves pile up outside, and it's the time of year to talk hockey.
I can't
It's a
believe it's
wonderful
hockey
time.
season already.
It
Yep.
is.
That's
NHL
crazy.
just started. College hockey's right around the corner.
Wow.
Tis the season, and I don't think the three of us could think of anyone better to have on this time of year than the head coach of the SUNY Oswego men's ice hockey team, about to begin season number 21 at the helm of the SUNY Oswego Lakers. It's our pleasure to welcome in head coach Ed Gosek. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me, and we appreciate the time and effort that you guys put in to keep our local fans and our alumni educated on what's going on with our program and the hockey world. So we appreciate your coverage and thank you for taking the time tonight.
Anytime.
No, it's our pleasure to have you on. I mean, the three of us, we Oswego state hockey means a ton to us. It helped us get through our years at Oswego, and a lot of the moments spent at Romney and then later at the current rink, the Deb, are really moments that we'll always remember. So it's a big part of our lives. So thank you, Coach.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thank you. Those were we just had our alumni weekend with our golf tournament and our Blue Line Club Hall of Fame, and the amount of guys that came back from that era playing in Romney, and then the players at the campus center. It's saying change is always better, but Romney had just a great mystique about it, as you know. And I was just reading an article today about Union College, and they're getting a new rink or moving into a community building, but there aren't many of the old barns left. And they certainly carry great tradition and blood, sweat, and tears of a lot of players and a lot of coaches.
No doubt, no doubt about that. And you mentioned, Coach, the golf tournament. Also, SUNY Oswego had inducted 5 new members into the Athletics Hall of Fame. Among those inducted was former ice hockey player Sean Green, who was a part of the Lakers teams
Yeah.
that made 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances in the late 80s. How much did Green mean to the Laker program, both as a player and after graduation?
I never got to coach Greeny. He graduated the year before I started with Don Unger in 1990 as an assistant. But ironically, he helped out in the registrar's office, and the registrar's office was tied in with my wife's job in the computer center. And she talked him into helping me back when I coached minor hockey. So his senior year, besides all the statistics on the ice, he was very giving of his time, very humble, as was his acceptance speech on Saturday evening. But no, just a great person. And obviously, the record speaks for itself. I think they had 3 Final Four appearances. The loss in the championship game, which was, then taken away. So they're a proud second place team, so to speak. But no, just he could score. I don't know, by design. His freshman year was put on a line with two great players that had chemistry, and he took advantage of it, and obviously very deserving of the Hall of Fame induction, and our booster club, our Blue Line Club Hall of Fame in previous years, but still involved, still gives back to the local hockey community in Buffalo, coaching high school hockey. And I know he brought his team down last year to watch one of our games, and I was fortunate to speak with his team, and just a great leader of young men. So he's an important part of our history. He made a lot of good things happen. That whole group of players, you could go on and on and on about the talent that they had. But as you know, Romney, and then the one year at the Fort Ontario rink. I don't know if you remember that when Romney was being renovated,
Oh.
but that was a heck of a run they had.
Now, is Sean Green related at all to the Green family in Oswego who does the sub shop and did Green's Ale House?
No,
No, he's
this is
not.
Sean Green. So I'll
Oh,
date
okay.
myself. And I actually coached that Sean Green in minor
Ah,
in Oswego, and his brother Billy,
okay.
and his dad Bill Sr. Just
Okay.
an awesome family. They give back to the local community, as do many of our local businesses. And as you guys know, they never say no to any organization. And unfortunately, some of the new big chain places, it's not knocking them, but they don't give back like the Green family and
Okay.
Canales, the Broadwells, and we could go on and on. But in our small community, those people are a huge part of what happens in our local youth and at the college.
It was a sad day to see Greens go when they closed down
Yeah.
there eventually. It was a while ago now, but it seems like it was they were around for forever, really.
No, they got the sub shop going, and there's a healthier version of Green's Ale House, which is called the Mix. Now you can go in and get a nutritious, protein, high-powered, healthy shake. So they still serve drinks, just a different variety.
Gotcha. Coach, before we move to the upcoming season, looking back at last year, right? You finished second in the SUNYAC. You dropped a tough OT game to Plattsburgh in the conference semis. And you had senior Shane Bull, who won the Herb Hammond Player of the Year award, and also fellow senior Tristan Francis took home the Defensive Player of the Year award as well. What were some of the things that you and the returning Lakers took away from last season that you could bring into this season?
Well, there's many takeaways. One, they were a great group of guys to have gone through the whole COVID period. They all stuck with it. The first year when, a lot of them went home. And then the second year, at the end of that year, with the playoffs just starting for the NCAAs, and the following year, starting practice and then being shut down. And, there was as many teams, that's just us, but just loyalty to the program and stuck with it. Not that they had a lot of choices at that point, but, the financial burden and hardship that it caused on a lot of families, it made it that much more difficult. So their passion and the way they represented our program, I'll never forget that. And in return, you do the best you can as a coach and as a staff to show loyalty to that. And sometimes you don't bring in players that maybe you think are better in honor of loyalty. And sometimes, your heart gets in the way of your brain. But we don't, as a staff, regret, any of that. But no, if you look at Shane Bull, for example, the people that judge people on first out of the gate, as I say, you can't judge a recruit based on 1 year. It's what do you get at the end of 4 years? And Shane Bull, if you look at the amount of games that he played, he was a healthy scratch many nights his freshman year. And I don't know, he had 2 or 3 goals. And then, to lead us in points in the league and win the Herb Hammond Award. His development over those 4 years was, you know, quite a tribute to him and the commitment that he made, with everything from lifestyle to diet to the working out to weight room to practice habits. So he's a great role model for our future players to follow. Our decor, our Quinn Wormuth, and Tristan Francis, as you were referring to. Obviously, those are big losses for us. Um, Cal Shell transferring to Guelph, that's a loss for us. And every year, people say, how are you going to replace the guys that you lost? That goes back to the group in 2007 that won the national championship. Very talented group, and you do your best to bring in um, guys that you feel are coachable, that fit within your mold, that can play within a structure, that are good people and good work ethic, along with, being student athletes. And, our takeaway, though, to answer your question in a long roundabout way, um, our special teams have to be better. Our power play and penalty kill percentages. If we want to be a top 10 team and in the hunt, those have got to improve. Our goals against average and the way in which we gave up goals has to improve, or we should expect the same results. So we've brought in, we're not as big as we've been on the back end. We're a lot smaller, but we feel we're a lot quicker. Guys are going to have to get back for pucks and move quickly out of our own zone. They defend well. They're hungry. They're aggressive, which were all the tributes to the players that just graduated. 15 seniors, that's a big chunk of understanding how we do things and our culture and our work ethic. So the takeaways, we need to be better on our special teams and in those areas. Our goaltending, it's not blaming them, just we have to have better numbers. We gave up the least amount of goals in our league, and yet, our save percentage was near the bottom. So those are all areas that we have to focus on as coaches to help, all of those areas improve.
So, Coach, you mentioned the seniors that have left the team for this year. You have 18 new players coming in. What is it that you like the most about the incoming group?
Well, you get it. When you've been somewhere, it's human nature. You get comfortable and you need something to drive. And these guys are hungry. There's 6 lines of forwards. That means there's 6 players that are healthy scratches.
Wow.
So the practices today was really the first official day we could start. We had our 8 practices that the NCAA has granted us through September in the first week of October. But what I like is we love the competitive spirit. Every guy understands they're all talented. They can all play. Putting the right pieces to the puzzle together for us, obviously that will determine our success. But they're a talented group. They work extremely hard. And like anybody starting a new job, attention to detail, they're there. They don't know how things are going, so they're very cautious and very attentive with all the video sessions and so forth that we've been able to give them. They've been very receptive and just a great group of young men. I mean, they identify every quality that we hope that they would carry as being a member of our Laker family.
When we talk about freshmen or first year players, we think, oh, they must have just graduated high school, but that's not the case here. Like, well, what's the profile of a typical first year player at Oswego State?
Well, this year with the numbers graduating 15, the portal, it is what it is, right?
Mhm.
But as we've learned, you have to be very careful with that, right? We've had good players. We've had some players where, they come and things don't work out. And there's nothing more heartbreaking for me is to have a transfer come in and not play. They left the situation because they weren't playing or they weren't happy with it. And that is difficult, right? So going through the portal and trying to, we would have loved to have brought in more actually players that I would have never done in the past, but times have changed. And to bring a player in for 1 year to try to break the cycle of every 4 years, having this large graduating class, we were able to bring in 2 that fit that mold. So 2 transfers to answer your question, then the typical recruit, they've played out all their years of eligibility at Tier 2 junior hockey. And, we're all hoping for something Division I, not hoping, trying to earn a spot. We feel many of them were capable of that, as are many programs at our level. But because of the landscape and the amount of scholarships and so forth, we try to get the best players that we can.
Mhm.
And, that landscape has changed also. A lot of the kids in the Ontario Junior League now, when they'll play a year or 2 there and then go out to the BC League, which is in Ontario, it's pay for play out there. There's not a cost to it. along with the North American League here in the States, has allowed X amount of imports. They take a lot of the overage, better Ontario kids or Alberta or Saskatchewan kids into their program. So if you look at some of our players that are Ontario based, they played in the North American Hockey League, and this is closer to home for them, and it seems like a good fit. But no, we try to recruit players from good programs where the coaches do things the right way. And it's totally changed with Instat being able to watch Kevin Mooney, that plays for Shreveport, to watch your game from last night and just watch your shifts, you know, and not have to watch the whole game. And, you know, you can keep an eye on all the kids that we have, not kids, young men that we've identified at the showcases. It's an unbelievable recruiting tool to be able to call a kid on the phone and talk to him about his game last night when they were playing in down in Texas. So, or, you know, out in BC or Alberta or wherever. So it's changed the landscape of recruiting in a major way, as has the portal.
Has that made D3 a lot more competitive than it has been in the past?
I think you see it with the parity. It's not just the, you know, Plattsburgh, Oswego, Geneseo in our league. You know, it's all the leagues. You know, you can look at Norwich and you can look at Middlebury and you can look at, you know, many of the other leagues. It's just coaches, you know, they work hard. They're, like I said, between getting out on the road and in stat, to be able to do a very thorough job.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you know, depending on your school, the packages and the price with today's economy, you know, plays a major role. I mean, we have a beautiful rink, we have a great history, we have a great tradition, but quite frankly, it still comes down to the bottom line is whether or not the parents and the young athlete can afford your school or feel that it's the right fit. You know, they might be offered a package somewhere else that's better. And I get it. I had two kids go to private school, you know, so there's enough players. D3 hockey, as you said, no, from when I started to now, it's no disrespect to those players. They're all very good players, but it has changed dramatically. All right, the speed, the strength, the commitment, the all-season training, the skill development, coaches that they go to all summer long, the use of video.
Yeah.
You know, every team has it now where the players can watch their shifts right after the game, you know, so it's all changed and for the better. But D3 hockey is certainly growing. And, you know, if things go the way it looks like it's going to go with major junior A players being able to play at the college level, it's only going to make Division III hockey that much stronger.
Focusing on the roster, the goaltending situation. So Brandon Milberg is the lone returning goaltender to the roster. You mentioned Cal Shell had transferred out.
Yeah.
Richie Perron had graduated.
Yes.
So that brings in two freshman goaltenders in Anthony Zalesi and Gavin McCarthy.
Mhm.
What's your assessment of the newcomers, and where does Brandon fit into that?
Well, as we told, you know, Brandon, our was here last year. He understands, you know, what has to happen here, as I discussed earlier. And Gavin McCarthy from Oakville, you know, was a nice young man, hardworking, you know, focused, as is Anthony Zalesi. Anthony, though, like you were asking about what's a typical profile, he you know, he doesn't really fit into our typical profile. Normally, we want, you know, the oldest, most mature, game experienced goalies that we can. Anthony's a very mature young man, but, you know, we took him 1 year early to his last year of junior hockey. So that's a little bit of a change for us there. But both of them, you know, we have a very good skill set and they're athletic, hardworking, you know, along with we feel enough talent to push Brendan and it's wide open now. I mean, you would you would base it, the next two scrimmages or exhibition games, they'll each play a period, and we'll continue to evaluate and practice and work with them and see what they bring when the scoreboard goes up.
Speaking of Anthony Zalesi, funny enough, he's an Oswego native, but he's not from Oswego, New York. He's from
Okay.
Oswego, Illinois,
Yeah.
which is, kind of interesting how that kind of fell into place, right? How like you got a kid coming from Oswego, but he's not. Everyone's like, oh, he's a native, but he's not.
No. Well, he's one of our former alums, one of his students, Stu Gould, who runs Good as Gould, goaltending out in Chicago area that works with every goalie from pro level down to, beginners. Has had Anthony in his program and, spoke very highly of him. And then his coach with the Sioux. Uh, a friend of mine. We've had players come from his program before, Chris Waterstreet and Brandon Adams. And so, no, it's Bruno's a great guy, and he spoke very highly of him. And he's raw. He needs time. He needs development, but he's a big kid. Um, pre-med bio student. He's very intelligent. He's mature, believe me, beyond his age. He's fit right in. Even though he's younger, the guys have embraced him and for who he is. And no, I'm just proud of our guys for the way in which a younger guy like that is fit in. All they care about is you're a good person and you can help the team. So it's been a good situation so far.
Coach, have you guys named a captain yet, or did the team? I don't know how you guys do it. If you do it, if the coaches do it, or the team play, then players do it themselves. But have you guys named a captain for the season yet?
We have. It's a long process, and actually, we name the captains at the end of the year banquet last year. I think it was beginning of April, but we talk with each player individually, the pros and cons, and who they feel is the right person to lead. And then us as a staff, obviously, we have the final say, but it's not a popularity contest. It's someone we take the input of our past captains that had them underneath them. Um, it's all encompassing, as you understand. It's not just on the ice and, the rah-rah or, it's managing time. It's how we conduct ourselves in the classroom, in the community, on the college campus, um, community service. So the captain this year is Matt McQuaid, uh, forward, junior forward, and he's done a phenomenal job so far. Along with that, junior Connor Gato and Danny Calabufo from the Syracuse area that transferred to us from Holy Cross. Um, Three different personalities. Matt's probably the most vocal of the group. The other two lead by example. Well respected for the way they conduct themselves on and off the ice. Team first. And as we say to our captains, every decision that you make should be putting every other player on the team in front of yourself and, doing what's right for the team, not just personally. So we're very pleased with the way they've taken ownership and have led, 18 new players. That's quite a chore and quite a, job for them to try to stay on top of.
And Danny Calabufo he seems like he's a pretty local guy, right? He's from Camillus.
Yeah,
So,
his
so
dad, Frank, is legendary high school coach. He's won, I don't know, 59 bajillion, hockey titles
That's about
here.
right.
Great guy, great family. And no, Danny went from there to Northwood, Prep in Lake Placid, and then on to Maryland Black Bears of the North American League to Holy Cross, and then to us. And just a fine young man. And he follows in his dad's footsteps. he'll be a great coach someday. I'm sure he'll stay involved in the game.
Switching gears here a little bit. Is it weird not seeing Brockport or Geneseo on the schedule this year because they've gone to a different conference?
It is. I mean, it's we're not playing either one this year. They're both on the schedule for next year.
Okay.
Actually, I think we have Geneseo twice and Brockport once next year. Um, so I mean, we'll still play them. This year it didn't work out just with, scheduling was more or less done when the whole announcement came through. But no, they were, original members, and obviously, Chris Schultz has done an outstanding job, and Brian Dickinson, has built a tradition there at Brockport, and both of them, I think, you say it's a loss. They did what they felt was right for their schools and their programs, and so you move on. If you look at the landscape of college sports, to me, it makes no sense for, Stanford to be coming across the country to play Syracuse and, in the same league and so forth. So you see it everywhere. And this not to the extent of that, but it just, they're doing, I'm sure finances had something to do with it, being closer to those teams in that area and not, unfortunately, we always think of just hockey, but when you think of all the sports teams, they felt that it was a better fit, for that. And so we welcome Hobart and Skidmore next year. I mean, those are two quality teams.
Yep.
And, they're relatively close for the group of teams remaining in the SUNYAC. We have the addition of Canton this year. And, Alex has done a great job up there. They've got a beautiful facility. The school is strong as far as enrollment and their fit within the North Country community. And now that they're in a league, that's been a burden on him to try to recruit when you don't play, have a playoff, so to speak, or a league championship or an AQ to the tournament. So credit to him. I think that's only program's going to continue to grow and improve, each and every year under his guidance. And both Hobart and Skidmore, obviously the records and their statistics and the quality of school speaks for itself. So I think they're a great addition to our hockey conference next year.
I remember when Canton was a junior college and you would recruit players from there to come to Oswego.
Yeah, absolutely. We could, go through the list of players that back when Coach Martin, Terry Martin was the coach, just a legend in the North Country and did a great job with their program. But yeah, I don't know. I liked them when I think they were the Northmen and now they're the Kangaroos. I'm not sure what kangaroo lives in Canton, New York. You'll have to fact check me on that.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Allow it. So I allow the fact check on their nickname, but no, they're a welcome addition to our league, which changes the travel partners, as you guys know. So for years, Cortland has been our travel partner, and this season, it'll be Canton as our travel partner, and Morrisville with Cortland, Buff State, Fredonia remain the same as Platte and Potsdam.
That's interesting.
We were wondering, we were looking at the schedules that come out year after year, and it seemed like the concept of a travel partner was kind of fading into the background, but it's still very much a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's we're balanced now and we'll be balanced next year. So the whole, Morrisville was out on an island before, trying to work the schedule around that was fair for everyone. Now, that they're with Cortland and, we're with Canton. So it changes the landscape of it. For us, it's the teams will have a little more travel between us. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it certainly changes the makeup and the preparation in our league, for all the teams. And it'll be interesting. It'll be certainly a change not having Brockport and Jenny, we wish them the best of luck. And, as I said, we'll still play them. They're still rivals. They're still, they're good guys that do the right things. And, we look forward to playing them next year.
That travel partner change seems odd to me because I feel like Canton is so far north that like where we are, right? Cortland is south, obviously, but
Yeah.
I feel like Canton is like just so far northeast of us, to be able to put them make us and them the travel partners. But
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're closer to them or Morrisville, but I think Morrisville was closer to Cortland. So, that made sense. Um, and from our standpoint, it's fine. It doesn't really
Mhm.
affect us. It doesn't, so that part of it's, all good.
It was a change seeing neither Brockport or Geneseo on the schedule, but also in another example of a change, it's hearing the term defending SUNYAC champion SUNY Cortland Red
Yeah.
Dragons. That's something you hear very often, and it's really a statement, that of how far Cortland's program has come, and now they are, a really phenomenal hockey program that's really competitive right with the rest of them.
Well, Coach Cardarelli, he's done a great job. Obviously he was here with
Mhm.
our program for a while, as is his assistant now. Connor Tierney has been our graduate assistant the last 2 years. And they work hard. Joe works hard, and there's no doubt in my mind it was only a matter of time. They're successful in a lot of sports. Cortland, there's a commitment to athletics, and their facility's nice. So there's no issues there. They're a good location, and no, he's done a great job. It's good for our league, and no, the more every team in our league can raise the bar, and it's not that they weren't deserving of a championship before them, but things have to fall in place, and injuries and bounces and some luck and goaltending and special teams and all the things we discussed that, as I say to everyone, people, they don't realize how tough our league is. I think they do, but all the leagues are tough, but it's night in and night out. You have to be ready to compete and grind. And our schedule this year, not sure people totally agree with the decision to play the teams that we do with a young team, but it'll make us better. It's a challenge, and if you want to be the best, you have to play the best, and you have to learn. And as another reporter asked me today, we have games against 7 of the teams in the top 15 in the rankings today, and some of them. Utica twice, Stevenson once, Hobart once, Elmira, Cortland, trying to think of who else.
Adrian,
Adrian. So, it's certainly, if you look at our first segment, as we break things down into, 4 or 5 game segments, it'll certainly be a challenge for our new players, and we're excited about it.
I'm all for the tough schedule. It makes the kids stronger. I feel like if it helps them
Absolutely.
learn, how to play competitive hockey. If you put cream puffs on your schedule the whole time, what are they going to learn, right?
Yeah. Well, it'll be a learning process, right? We're going to learn and go. They're doing all the right things right now. We'll continue, as we say, work and build each and every day with great attitude and great effort. And, the systematic things, it'll take time. Um, but right now, the compete level and the level of, right, battling for positions and having something to prove, it's been good.
Coach, it's in a very atypical situation. You're going to play at Cortland 3 times this year, right? So January 18th, you're playing them um, in a fundraiser or as part of a fundraiser for Griffin's Guardians. Can you elaborate a little more for us on what the fundraiser is and how much does it mean to the program to be able to take part in something like this?
Well, at the time, my wife was battling everything that she was going through with ovarian cancer, and Griffin's mom and a group of people in Skinny Atlas. He had passed away, had organized the event, and at the time, Coach Roll wife had passed. We played Nazareth in Skinny Atlas. Geez, I don't know, a few years ago, for the same cause, for Griffin's Guardians. And so Joe and I both, we had an open game on our schedule. And, I asked him if he would be interested in playing it at a neutral site. I got a hold of the people there, and they loved the idea, and they took it and ran with it. I know Joe's got one of his players, mom's involved, as do we, and Calabufo from our team, and they've done a great job in helping Griffin's Guardians organize and fundraise and so forth. It's for a great cause, pediatric cancer, and we're glad to do our part, as is Cortland. So, both teams giving up a home game to play on a neutral site. When we played Nazareth there, it was, a sold out arena. It was a great atmosphere for a great cause.
Coach, this season, it looks like you're going to reach 400 career wins, which is an exceptional feat in of itself. What does that milestone mean to you?
Honestly, I don't look at the numbers. I probably feel like, okay, I wish I would have been there 3 years ago or 4 years ago or something. And whatever that averages out to, I'd say, what does it mean is just consistency. We ask of it, from our players each and every day in practice, trying not to let the game pass you by and stay in tune with the latest systems or latest tendencies, everything from how you recruit to how you treat the players and how you practice and weight room, and all of it has certainly changed from when I started as an assistant in 1990. But the greatest takeaway for me, everybody would say, oh, it has to be, winning the national championship. And that's awesome. But the consistency of the program, as people find out, getting to the top of the mountain, it's awesome. Ride, experience, a lot of fun. Trying to stay on top of the mountain, that's it's a hard task. It's one that we embrace. But back to your question, probably the most important thing is the friendships with the players and their families. It's probably the most rewarding when you get a call, a text, an email from former players just about life. And that's the greatest compliment that they pay me, by staying in touch and staying part of the program and being loyal alums. That's something, more important than the trophies. A lot of great teams, a lot of great players, a lot of great moments. But at this age, when you do it long enough, you realize how blessed and fortunate you are to do something that you love. When I lose that passion, or I'm not driven to be successful and I'm not pushing the right buttons with the players, then it's time to get out. But right now, I'm very grateful. I'm blessed to have the job. I've got a great core of assistants that I don't know, I call them assistants, or they're co-coaches, that are all capable of coaching their own teams. And but we're all on the same page. As you know, no one cares who gets the credit. You want to be successful, and if it comes to 400 wins, it's a credit to all the players and the staff, that have put up with me and watched, countless video sessions and practices and so forth, and then put up with my say childish behavior, whatever behavior at times. So no, that would be it.
Well, Coach, we are pulling for you big time, and we hope number 400 comes sooner than we
Where
think.
am I
I think it
at?
will.
Let me ask you. 358 or something?
Uh,
I don't think I'd get there this year.
392. Yeah, we had
Okay.
392.
Well,
You'll
I'd
get
be
there.
disappointed if we didn't get 8 wins.
Yeah, I would think so.
We better go down the other avenue about give it up, old man. Yeah.
That would be a very un Oswego like season.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hey, Nowadays, you watch pro sports and it's like it's a different world.
I have faith in you guys. Just saying.
Yes.
Well, thank you. We have faith in our guys too. And whatever you say, under talk and try to over deliver or whatever it is. But no, our expectations, we're excited because they're a great group of talented young men. And again, it's going to be a learning curve for them, but their energy, their enthusiasm, their excitement can make up for a lot of lack of systems, execution, and other things. So I always say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and we're hoping we can outwork a lot of teams and outcompete and take pride in that.
So, Coach, one last question before we get you out of here. How often do you lose your voice during a game?
During the game, not very often. Practices, honestly, like that's I don't say games aren't enjoyable, but practices for me are where you get to teach, talk. I think you know my MO in the games. If you've seen me yell at one of our own players, it's a rarity, or I can't remember the last time, other than maybe some type of a discipline issue. But I'm a firm believer if you prepare your team the right way, they're in shape, they're disciplined, they play as a unit. You have no regrets. The things that we can control, change systems as necessary based upon our opponent, continue to work on practice at things that, don't go well in the games or continue to improve on things that we felt we did well. But my yelling, my talking is majority is in practice. Um, I tried to cut back on the as far as yelling, positive, negative, whatever, and trying to get closer to them and to talk like a normal human being, not some raving lunatic. But my voice has been pretty good so far. So around February, March, like every year, it's a sinus infection or something, and something with my throat. But I think that's every coach in our sport.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best this season, and go Lakers.
Yeah, thank you. And great job by you guys. Um, I've done enough of these, and your questions are the right questions for our faithful and for our fans on what's going on with the program and our league and so forth. So I appreciate you taking the time to research, things that are informative, and it's good for our program. We appreciate your coverage and all you do for college hockey.
And that was Oswego native, SUNY Oswego alum, and head coach of the SUNY Oswego men's ice hockey team, the one and only Coach Ed Gosek. Again, best wishes to Coach on another season. This is number 21 that Coach Gosek is leading. So it's amazing how time has flown, and that Gosek has been there every step of the way with this program, from assistant coaching under Don Unker and George Roll to taking over the team and leading them to the national title, and then just successful season year after year after that. So all the best really to Coach.
Yeah, definitely. And he underestimated how many wins he's got too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only a few away from 400. I mean, that's an impressive. I don't care what sport, like what level they're at. Any coach for that matter. If you're getting 400 wins, you're probably really good at what you do. And
That might be an understatement.
Really, right. I mean, he's been really good at what he does for a long time at Oswego.
And I did a little nerding out with the stats. So you look at the top winningest college hockey coaches, men's ice hockey coaches of all time. And there are 50 of them that have more than 400 wins. So I think there's a tie for 50th with 408. So if Coach Gosek lands 17 wins this year, that would put him above those two. So he would crack the top 50.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if his winning percentage stays where it is, it's about 730 right now, 725-ish. He would be the second highest in terms of winning percentage out of any of those coaches. D1, D3, all of them. He would have the second highest winning percentage, depending on how things go, because
Right.
there's a certain coach that is right there as well, and that is none other than Bob Emery.
Of course. I mean, of course.
Who,
Why,
yeah.
why'd you have to do that?
So Coach
Where does he
Gosek-
land on the list?
So right now, Coach Gosek's winning percentage is 732. So that's 392, 133, and 33 all time in his career. So that's a percentage of 732. And Bob Emery, if I can find him right now, he is 14th on the all-time
Wow.
list. 624 wins.
Wow. How long did he
Um,
coach?
He coached for 30 seasons.
Really?
Yeah. So his all-time winning percentage is 726,
That's impressive.
which across
is
that many
impressive.
games,
I mean, they had some serious good school.
Yeah.
They had some really good teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
very good teams.
he's coached almost 900 games.
Yeah.
Around
And that's why
900
we hate
games.
Plattsburgh. Just gonna
And it was
say
all, by the way, all with Plattsburgh. 30 years, all with Plattsburgh.
And that's real. Yeah. I mean, that is impressive. But yeah, they cheated.
They did cheat.
So,
It's true.
They did.
Yeah. And they got caught.
They got caught.
Hey, like that, suckers.
And that's vacated. And really, Oswego was the national champion.
Yep.
That's just
All
the way
right.
it
So
is.
that
End of story.
was the infamous 1987 season when Oswego and Plattsburgh met for the D3 championship.
That's
And
right.
in case you're new to the podcast, welcome in. Thank you. And you're not quite familiar with the background. So yeah,
They cheated.
Plattsburgh that
They
year
cheated.
beat
They're cheaters
Oswego
in general.
to win the 87 title. And then it was found out they used ineligible players. So they vacated their trophy. They vacated the championship. They took the wins away. But Oswego was still in the record books, their second place. They weren't awarded the championship for that year. So,
They
That's
should have
BS.
a trophy.
That's
Just
BS.
saying. I'm just saying that they should have a trophy. That's it.
so getting back, so in terms of winning percentage, if once Coach Gosek, when he reaches that point where he's in the top 50, he could have the second best winning percentage. The first one, by the way, is Tim Coughlin, who's now in his 30th year coaching St. Norbert. And
Okay.
Wow.
he's got a 767 winning percentage.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, St. Norbert's always been a good
insane.
team. They've always
Yeah.
had good teams.
Yeah. So he is 660, 180, and 60 in his career. Now, I know this is reading numbers, in an audio.
it's
platform
riveting.
It's
is
great for
riveting
radio.
stuff.
Yeah.
Great. For
So-
But you know
excuse
what's
me
funny? You know what's
while I
funny
nerd
is
out.
Coach could easily, he might not catch them in wins, but he's going to be, he's pushing 30. He's at, what do you say, 21 now, right? So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he's got 9 more in him at least to get to 30 years.
You say he's pushing 30. He's at 21 years. He's got 9 years left.
That's pretty.
He's not pushing
He's
30.
closer to 30 than he is to 10. He's on the other side of 20 now.
Let's let Coach Gosek decide how long he wants to go.
Yeah,
I
he can
think
stay as
just
long as he
saying,
wants.
his call. And like you said, any one of the coaches that are on the staff could step in easily. They could all head coach their own teams. So, the team is in fantastic hands, no matter what coach decides to do.
True.
And he could coach another 15 years. Who knows? But yeah, it's just like you said, consistency. It's getting those 15, 16 wins in and out every year. It's a lot harder to do than it looks. And
Right.
Oh yeah.
so
And it's
and
a
it
young
gets-
team
and like
this
you-
year.
Yep. And
So-
like you said in your question earlier, the competitive landscape of Division
Mhm.
III hockey is increasing constantly, right?
Yeah.
From the time when he started till now, So that could always, be a deciding factor. But if he keeps getting the good recruits coming in,
Yeah. No, again, he's got a plethora of young kids that have come, and we say kids, they're young adults, really, like he said. But yeah, it's just patience with the team this year I think is kind of be the message. That's what I think anyway. Speaking of statistics, I've got an interesting little tidbit here for you guys. Okay, has nothing to do with sports whatsoever, but I will tie it into sports. So a black hole in the M87 galaxy is shooting a plasma jet across space, stretching over 3,000 light years from its core. Okay, you with me so far?
no.
no, you lost me.
I'll say it again. A black hole in the M87 Galaxy is shooting a plasma jet across space, stretching over 3,000 light years from its core. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The M87 Galaxy is about 55 million light years away from Earth, meaning that the light we see from its jet today was actually emitted 55 million years ago. And ironically, that's the next time the Giants are going to win any sort of a football game with Daniel Jones at quarterback.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
They stink.
Oh boy.
Sitting through that felt like about 55
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna
did.
say.
It did about, yeah.
It took
That may have
about
been
that long.
That
to
may have
get
been the
there.
longest story I've ever heard in my entire life.
Ugh, God, that was awful. That was like watching, it was like watching paint dry.
No, it was worse than watching paint
Yeah,
dry.
no, it was worse. It was, God, it was like watching Pop Warner football when they're just learning how to play football. That's what the team looked like last
Yeah,
night.
it's like, let me tell you, it's like playing t-ball and watching them run around the field
Yes.
trying to pick up a ball,
Exactly.
and then all 9 kids run after the same ball when it's hit the left field. Good times, let me tell
It
you.
was terrible.
So as we talk, it's Monday. Last night, the Mets dropped game 1 of the NLCS to the Dodgers 9-0. And then the Giants played just a hideous game, losing to the Bengals.
Should have won that game.
And I mean,
No, they shouldn't.
Of course they should have won that game.
No,
They
what?
missed 2 field goals.
The Giants are. Come on.
I
If
think-
Graham Gano was the kicker, they win that game.
well, do you
Dude.
want them to win the game at this point?
No, I
We-
don't. But
No.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying hypothetically speaking, if they had a legitimate kicker who wasn't a high school kicker, they would have won that game.
Jason, 2 field goals would have put them at 13 points. Bengals scored 17. They would have lost the game
I
anyway.
still think they would have won that game.
Once you rewind and you go back and you change the first
Yeah,
field
I know.
goal, if that
Hindsight's
goes
2020.
through,
I know.
now your strategy changes, and
Exactly.
maybe the Bengals don't score 17 points. Who
Right.
knows?
See, Kevin
Um,
understands.
I get it. I get it.
I know.
but-
Hindsight's 2020. You never know. But Giants
Talk re-
Giants
you know.
could have won multiple games this year that they haven't won. And I'm not saying I want them to win these games because I want them to get a good draft pick. But at the same time, I'm not rooting for them to lose at the same time.
Can we all agree that we enjoyed watching the Cowboys get steamrolled on
Oh,
Jerry,
wow, that
Jerry
was
Jones'
beautiful.
birthday?
On his
It
birthday.
That was
his birthday.
wonderful.
And then watching the
Just
Dallas fan
wonderful.
puke everywhere while the Detroit fan does the gritty around them. Did you see that video?
Man, awful.
That was hilarious.
That was great. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter if the Giants win or lose for the rest of the season, as far as I'm concerned. If Dallas loses that way every single week, that'll make my season.
Can I just ask that we maybe just beat the Eagles and the Cowboys once this year, and that would make my season way better. That's all I ask. Just once.
Yeah,
once
I-
each.
I would like to stick it to Philly at least once. Just stick it to them again.
Yeah,
after-
we play them next week.
That's
but-
the next game. That's
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah. Saquon has looked average at beast
yeah.
since the beginning.
I'm
of the
waiting. I
season,
mean,
so
Hey,
coming
look,
from the terror,
he hasn't gotten hurt
patella or
yet, so
something.
kudos to
Yeah.
him. You know?
Well,
Yeah,
he'll
true.
tear something in the next few weeks. He will. He'll be
you know
out for
what's
4
what's going to
games.
happen? He's not going to do it this year because he's not on the Giants anymore.
He hasn't been great though.
No, he hasn't been great, but he hasn't been great, but their team in general hasn't been great.
Yeah.
How about those Mets, though? Pulling out
How
the
about those Mets?
victory
Oh,
earlier today.
baby.
The NLCS is now tied 1-1. Going
Listen,
to New
3
York.
straight at City Field. Whoa.
Oh, baby.
I'll be there for game 4.
Wow. Little look at me Louie over here. I'll be there for game 4, he says.
I'll be there for game
kinda
4.
jealous.
Nice.
Not gonna lie.
Hey,
Yeah.
great job,
Kind of
Jason.
jealous.
You guys
Yeah.
can go to Oswego and watch some hockey. I'm going to go to Mets game 4.
The last time I went to an NLCS game was when they played, it was the Endy Chavez series with the Cardinals.
Mm.
I went to game 1. Well, actually, game 1 got postponed because it rained. So it was the next night. And I was Carlos Beltran hit the top of the freaking scoreboard in right field at Old Shea Stadium. Man, that place is rocking. I can't imagine what City Field is going to be like these next 3 games.
It's
Ah.
phenomenal. I was there for game 3 and for game 3 and 4, yeah.
Yeah.
3 and 4 last week.
Hmm.
And it was phenomenal. The atmosphere was ridiculous. And when Lindor hit that home run,
Oh,
oh my God,
The grand slam.
it
place
was
is
just,
rocking.
oh man.
Yeah.
And then when they got the after that final out, it was just pure just chaos. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just awesome.
I think that'll do it for this edition of the Throwing Bagels podcast. Thanks once again to SUNY Oswego men's ice hockey head coach Ed Gosek for joining us. And thank you for listening. You can find us online at throwingbagels.com. You can email us throwingbagelspodcast@gmail.com. All of our socials are up on our website. So check them out when you can. And Chris and Jason, say it with me. Let's
Let's go, Mets.
Mets.
LFGM, baby.
OMG.